You don't need any introduction. Your name is a brand. It's already a brand. It's a brand for innovation, for ambition, for...
A perfume?
Yes, yes. This is the agreement that you made with the Arnault family a few hours ago.
I mean, really, it brands itself.
Yeah. And you are the origin of PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, to name a few, and even OpenAI. So, you love taking risks, and you are going always against the tide and the popular wisdom. You have been always proven right. Now there is, almost.
Not always.
Almost. Now there is a bet of the $44 billion US question, which is, will you still be right with Twitter?
Sure.
So
it was expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, you agree.
I don't know if you know. Listen, if I'm so smart, why did I pay so much for Twitter then?
So, as I'm not a journalist, I'm not trying to get headlines and to have provocative response and to make a scoop. But nevertheless, if you wish to do that, it is authorized.
Okay, great.
So we are expecting that you will really make the show, because everyone comes here to see you, to listen to you, and to get some of the magic that you have.
All right. Well,
But,
I'm honored that you all want to listen to what I have to say. It's great to see the crowd, and I don't know, you guys seem awesome. So.
But you told me that you would like. You said that you would like to speak in French.
Oh my goodness. Zut alors.
Bonjour Paris.
Bonjour Paris.
So there are some people who believe that you are a genius, and there are some who believe that you are evil. So,
Look, I mean, you can be both.
I
mean, you could be an evil genius. That's not, you know.
So you will tell us what you are, or you will let the people draw their own conclusion?
I am definitely not evil.
That's it. Tell me. What is the thing that you have ahead of your...
Yes, if you look carefully, you can see an angel's halo on my head. And the wings, it's subtle, but...
where are the wings?
Yeah, they're difficult to see, but if you look carefully, you know, they're right there.
Yeah, small wings.
Yes. So, yeah, hopefully not evil. Aspirationally not evil. Yeah.
Okay, so...
That wasn't convincing.
Elon, you have done a lot of operation, you have created a lot of companies. The most important question for everyone is, what the hell is driving you? Why are you so obsessed by new operation, new creation, new things to do?
Yeah, crystal meth is the answer. If you think Red Bull gives you wings, so man, that quote's gonna probably sting. Yeah, just kidding for the record. Well, I think the companies still have a lot to do for their core mission. For electric vehicles, sustainable energy, still less than 1% of the global fleet is electric. So you've got about 2 billion cars and trucks on the road, but still less than 20 million are electric at this point. So there's still a long way to go for sustainable energy, for sustainable energy generation. So this, the Tesla mission I think we've made a lot of progress, but still it's a lot more ahead. Then SpaceX, the goal is it's a big goal, but we want to try to make life multiplanetary, to extend life beyond Earth, and I think this is important for a number of reasons, but yeah, there's the sort of defensive reason of ensuring that the light of consciousness does not go out. And if I may, some of these questions, if I'm going on too long, you feel free to interrupt me. But
No, you can.
Okay.
You can be long.
Okay, so people do ask me, have I seen UFOs and aliens and that kind of thing, and I haven't, and I think I would have seen them by now. So it appears that we might be the only consciousness, at least in this galaxy, and if so, that's kind of a scary prospect, because it means that the light of consciousness is like a tiny candle in a vast darkness, and we should do everything we can to prevent that candle from going out. So, yeah. And so some of the things, so that means obviously taking the actions to ensure that Earth is good, that Earth is safe and secure for civilization. And I think it also means extending life beyond Earth to other planets in the solar system and ultimately to other star systems. And I think that's both a sort of defense of the light of consciousness and also I think a point of inspiration, because life cannot just be about solving one problem after another. We need things that inspire us. I mean, we need things that move our heart, and that when you wake up in the morning, you're excited to be alive. And being a spacefaring civilization and making true the things that we see in the good science fiction movies, this is one of the things that I think can inspire all of humanity. Just like when the astronauts went to the moon in '69, it was something that, they said for all mankind, and it really was something. You say to any human on Earth, what's like the most amazing thing that humanity has ever done? At least one of those things would be, we went to the moon, and so you want to have these inspiring things that make you excited to be alive and excited about the future. Yeah.
And you had those thoughts and dreams when you were a kid, or this came much later on?
Well, I didn't think I would be doing these things as a kid, that's for sure. I was interested in technology, and I read a lot of books. So I was obviously interested in science. I mean, this is hardly going to be surprising. I was interested in science fiction and technology.
You have to tell the truth, because there is someone who is listening to you, huh?
Yeah, my mom's right there. She can call me out on this if it's not accurate. But so I guess the thing that was maybe most significant from a philosophical standpoint was that when I was about maybe 12 or 13, I had somewhat of an existential crisis, where I was like, what is the meaning of life? Is life just meaningless? Why are we here? What does it all mean? And I read a lot of books on religion and philosophy, and then ultimately, I read this book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is great. And in that book is really a philosophy book that's disguised as humor. And the point that Douglas Adams makes is that the real difficulty is understanding what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe, and that that really we want to have. It's essentially it's like a philosophy of curiosity. Of saying, well, what can we do to find out more about the nature of the universe and the meaning of life? And so that's the sort of foundational element. And then from there you say, okay, well, if we want to find out the meaning of life, we have to expand the scope and scale of consciousness. We have to go out there and explore the stars to know what questions to ask about the universe and understand the universe. And that's my core philosophy. And so from that, it was like, well, we have to make sure that Earth is good, so we have to have sustainable energy. We want to build technology to travel beyond Earth, and it's from that sort of core philosophy that these companies arise in most cases. You can say, how does Twitter help with that?
So I would like to go back to Earth.
Sure.
And to the various enterprises that you contributed to create or co-created or created. Let's start with PayPal.
Sure.
A very impressive company. Do you regret to have sold it?
I think in retrospect, I think it was good that the company was acquired by eBay because there was so much talent at PayPal, and that talent subsequently went on to create many other companies. YouTube, for example, was created by two people that worked at PayPal. There was LinkedIn was created from PayPal. There was Yelp. There was many other companies.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah. So, and if I'd been still working on PayPal, then there wouldn't be, Tesla would not be in its current form, and SpaceX wouldn't exist.
Yes.
So yes, I guess the short answer, yes.
The short answer is that yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but now with you would have loved to keep it again.
Well, there is, I think, the potential to do something that is bigger than PayPal. This is sort of like the X, the sort of everything app kind of thing. So I think it's somewhat poetic. Like we're trying to go finish a task that was started about 24 years ago. I think it's going to be useful. X/Twitter is going to be just a very useful thing, and hopefully something that is a positive force for civilization.
Moving to Tesla, I have, through one of our operations, done the first advertising campaign for the electric car of GM. That was at the end of the 90s. So can you explain why GM and other car manufacturers have not created Tesla, and why Tesla is successful? What is the difference?
You're talking about the EV1, basically, the EV1 car that. So General Motors actually did come out with this electric vehicle one, EV1, and it's.
Yes, you remember EV1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, so I thought when that came out.
It was 97.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I expected there would be an EV2, EV3, and so forth. And if they had done that, actually there would be no need for Tesla. But for reasons that aren't clear, GM recalled all of the EV1s, even from customers that really wanted to keep the cars. They recalled the cars and they crushed them in a junkyard. And it still blows my mind that they did this, because the people who had the EV1s, they loved the car so much, they held a candlelit vigil at the junkyard where the cars were crushed. Okay, like it was like someone was getting killed, and it's like, if somebody is holding a candlelit vigil for because they love your product so much, maybe you should make more of it. Yeah. I mean, it's like pretty rare for candlelit vigils to be held for products. So I don't understand why they didn't do more. They should have, and they would be the leader in electric vehicles today, but they didn't. They didn't. And so there was a need for Tesla because at the time of starting Tesla, there were no electric vehicles being made. And so the big car companies were not making electric vehicles. There were no startups that we were aware of making electric vehicles. So it's like, well, we should try. And I mean, in the case of both Tesla and SpaceX, I thought the chance of success was maybe 10%. So it's not like I thought it would be successful. I thought it would fail.
Good lesson. Now moving to the kid's dream, which is to become an astronaut and not to build rockets. How you move from the idea that every child has, I will be an astronaut, to I will do reusable rockets.
Yeah.
You forgot.
No, I'm trying to compress the stories so that they're not too long, because the story is actually quite long. Because I didn't start out wanting to do the rockets. At first, I was going to do this philanthropic mission to Mars called Mars Oasis, and then as I started investigating what it would take to launch this mission to Mars, just a little greenhouse, basically. It was intended to inspire the public. And I started understanding more about what rockets could be used. I actually went to Russia a few times to try to buy some of their nuclear missiles, minus the nuke. That's extra. So that was pretty wild, being in Russia in 2001, negotiating to buy 2 of their biggest missiles. But it became clear that unless there was something new with rockets, that was the fundamental issue. The cost of access to space was the fundamental issue. So it wasn't a question of trying to increase the public's desire. Public's desire for space and exploration is very high, but there needs to be a means. There needs to be a way, and there needs to be a radical improvement in the cost of access to orbit. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try starting a rocket company and see if it's successful. But like I said, I told people at the time, because the people would say to me, tell me this joke of like, what's the what's the, how do you go from, sorry. Sorry, I'm getting a little hot under the collar here. I think a lot of people are. So they would say, what's the fastest way to make a small fortune in the rocket industry? And the punchline is you start with a large one. So, it was tough going for a while. Our first 3 launches failed. Fortunately, the 4th one succeeded. If the 4th one had not succeeded, SpaceX would not exist. So it was a very close call.
Fast forward, you created, or you co-created OpenAI.
Yes.
ChatGPT has been incredibly successful. It's the fastest growing ever story. And after having created OpenAI, suddenly you say, we should have a pause. Some people say, it's because he has not done it.
Well, I mean, I didn't think anyone would actually agree to the pause, but I thought just for the record, I just want to say I think we should pause. I didn't think that
Why do you want we should pause?
Well, I think there's a real danger for digital superintelligence having negative consequences. And so if we are not careful with creating artificial general intelligence, we could have potentially a catastrophic outcome. So now I think there's a range of possibilities. I think the most likely outcome is positive for AI, but that's not every possible outcome. So we need to minimize the probability that something will go wrong with digital superintelligence. Yes. So I'm in favor of AI regulation because I think advanced AI is a risk to the public, and anything that's a risk to the public, there needs to be some kind of referee. That referee is the regulator, and so I think that my strong recommendation is to have some regulation for AI.
Some regulation for AI?
Yes.
Which is what you want also for Twitter?
I'm not sure. Regulation, I guess. There's plenty of regulators. Sure.
Okay. So speaking about Twitter, you have made a big bet on Twitter. You said it a few minutes ago that you paid too much.
Yes.
Yes. And you are now going on to Twitter 2.0 or 3.0. Which I understand it's a full-scale reinvention of the company.
Yeah, we're evolving the company very rapidly.
Yeah, the company is changing quite dramatically. There are a lot of controversy about Twitter. So I have, in fact, three very quick questions. The first one is, why have you decided to acquire it? The second is, what was wrong at Twitter to make you acting? And the last one is, not the last of the three, because there are many other questions, is why do you believe that you will be successful? And you will be.
Well, thanks.
I can't imagine that you will not be.
Well, thanks. Well, obviously I was on Twitter as a major user, and even before the acquisition closed, my Twitter account was the most interacted with account in the world. So I guess I'm pretty closely attuned to what's going on with Twitter. You know, I get a feel for how is it shifting one way or the other, and generally I was concerned that Twitter was having a negative effect on civilization, that it was having a corrosive effect on civil society, and so that, you know, anything that undermines civilization, I think, is not good. And, you know, go back to my point of, like, we need to do everything possible to support civilization and move it in a positive direction. And I felt that that Twitter kept moving more and more in a negative direction. And my hope and aspiration was to change that and have it be a positive force for civilization.
It is not perceived like this. People are very happy to listen to that approach, but the perception is very different.
Well, I think it depends on, I mean, I think if somebody is a regular Twitter user, I think most people would say that their experience has improved. We've gotten rid of 90% of the bots and the scams and the various bad things that were happening. We've gotten rid of, now at this point, I think 95% of the child exploitation material that was on Twitter, which was a shock to see, the amount of that. That was really terrible. Some of that had been going on for 10 years and no action. So I think we've done a lot of good in that respect. And then I think we've also done things like we have open sourced the algorithm, so we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So Twitter is the only social media company where you can see the actual code of the algorithm. So it's not like some secret black box. Yeah. I mean, the way to build trust is not take my word for it. It's let's show you exactly how it works and full transparency. And we're also going to be showing, like, if your account is in any way affected by the Twitter system, you can see it clearly. Just, you know, moving in, I think, a good direction. I think the recommendation algorithm, you know, I don't want to go on too long for Twitter, but I think it's actually quite good, and that those who are on the Twitter system, I think, generally think it's good. we are seeing all-time highs in usage. So at least, for the public out there, they are using the system more. So we're seeing pretty significant week-over-week growth in usage. So the public is speaking with their time, and if they're putting their time on Twitter, that's a very good signal. So that's very positive.
What would you say to advertisers who left Twitter to convince them to come back?
Yeah, actually, I should say that maybe with a few exceptions, almost all the advertisers have said that they've either come back or they said they will come back. So actually, I feel pretty optimistic about the future. Yeah, so we're really, at this point, I believe, actually, I'm not aware of any advertiser that is, they've either come back or they said they'll come back. I'm not aware of any exceptions. There are probably a few exceptions, but overall, I think it's very positive.
Good. So we will have now a broader conversation. We will ask Christelle Edeman from Orange, the CEO of Orange, to join us, as well as Antoine Arnaud from LVMH, and Asmita Dubey from L'Oréal. We have to move in order that they add the chair, so come here. Now, while they are arranging, there is there is one question that I would like to take care. So finally, we are all together again. I had another question, but I will save it for later, and I will give the floor to Christelle Edeman, who is the CEO of Orange, and she is very much excited about putting some harsh, difficult question to you.
Let's go.
I'm not sure that's so difficult, but let's so I like to talk about obviously social networks and
Twitter.
I'm not sure if I heard what you just said with Maurice, but obviously social networks and Twitter has been a fantastic tool to develop free speech and open debates that maybe were not possible before that.
Sure.
Now, there's also another side of it, which is that there can be some disinformation, fake news, propagated.
Fake news? What? That's crazy.
Fake news, yes. Believe it or not.
I don't believe
You
it.
believe that?
Wait, how do I know this is real?
Now the question is, and actually I think there's a flip side indeed to social networks, and there's a code of conduct that the EU has proposed on disinformation.
Okay.
And recently Twitter just decided to walk away from it. So is this because Twitter doesn't respect the fact that information needs to be moderated, and actually you've been pretty vocal on content moderation. So just what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm generally a fan of that we should have free speech as much as possible, as much as is allowed by the laws of any country. So, I think that, say, for France, we should allow things that are allowed by law, and if the people want the laws to be different, then pass a different law, and we'll adhere to that law. But for Twitter to go beyond the law, that doesn't seem quite right to me. I think we want to allow the people to express themselves, and really, if you have to say, when does free speech matter? Free speech matters, and it's only relevant if people are allowed to say things that you don't like, because otherwise it's not free speech. And I would take that if somebody says something potentially offensive, but that's actually okay. Now we're not going to promote those offensive tweets, but But I think people should be able to say things, because the alternative is censorship, and frankly, I think if you go down the censorship route, it's only a matter of time before censorship is turned upon you. So that's why it's important. You know, in the U.S., you've got the First Amendment, Freedom of Speech Amendment, and you say, like, why did they do that? Why did they pass that amendment? It was because they were not able to say what they wanted to say in the countries that they came from, and they wanted to make sure that they could say what they wanted to say. So I believe in freedom for the people to say things, and that even if somebody says that it's actually in some ways a sign of health if people are able to, if someone you don't like is able to say something you don't like, rather than try to suppress that, you say, like, you know what, that's a good sign, because that means I can say things and that person will not like what I say, but I can still say it. And that's a really big deal.
I mean, freedom of speech, that's something that's very, I mean, at the core of our values. But now, if we look at young people and being in the digital field, and we provide digital services that people use, there's also a move towards cyberbullying and harassment, which I think it's also our role to educate young people on how to use the technology and make sure that, because some behaviors, I mean, on Twitter or other social networks, can actually have devastating effects on people. Is Twitter doing something about it, or would you be willing to engage with other players? Actually, at Orange, we do a lot in that space.
Sure. I mean,
that's true.
I think you know, Twitter is for sure willing to engage with others, and like, as I said, the overarching goal is to have Twitter be a positive force for civilization, and you know, so and if you're on the platform and you're being harassed or bullied or whatever, obviously that's a negative experience. So you know, what we're doing is we call it sort of freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach, which is that if yes, you can say offensive things, but then your content is going to get downrated. So if you're a jerk, your reach will drop. So yeah, I think that's the right thing.
Antoine, I don't know if you will be competing with L'Oréal to launch the future fragrance for Elon Musk and the brand, Musk, so you have to compete very hard. Yeah. But maybe, I know that you had already the lunch, but there is now the dessert, so you can put your question.
All right. First of all, in the name of Le Groupe Les Échos Le Parisien, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
This group is a co-host of Vivatech, and it's great to have you and welcome.
I like it.
So, change of subject from Twitter. At LVMH, our oldest maison is called Clos des Lambrais. I saw you enjoyed good wine.
Yeah.
It's 650 years old.
Wow.
Louis Vuitton was founded in 1854. Our most ancient American maison, Tiffany, was founded in 1837. The sum of the years of existence of all our maisons at LVMH is 8,393 years old.
Wow.
Tesla is a teenager, right?
Yes, yes.
19 years old.
Yeah.
And its market cap is already higher than LVMH.
So it's not a question of age.
Yeah.
So, First question, how much longer are you going to make us look so bad? Second question, more serious. Do you feel the creation of value is more challenging in traditional or innovative business?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here and speak with you, so thanks for having me. You know, evaluations are a strange thing, because you know, sometimes I've said, hey, I think the stock price is too high at Tesla, and then the stock price goes up. I'm like, okay.
So if you tweet, is it going up or down?
No, the crazy thing, I mean, when I've tweeted, I think the stock price is too high, almost always it goes up. So, I don't know. It's a strange thing. So I guess in the case of Tesla, if the value of the company is primarily on the basis of autonomy. So, in my opinion, because if you look at our total vehicle output, it's it'll be almost 2 million vehicles this year, or something like that. But that's still only 2% of total vehicle production. So then why is our market cap so high? And it's because the potential for autonomy is that the value of autonomy is so high that even if you have a discounted percentage probability of autonomy happening, that is still incredibly valuable. So the average passenger car is used only about 10 hours a week, so an average of about 1.5 hours a day. But if you have an autonomous robo-taxi, the utility might be 50 or 60 hours a week out of 168 hours. So now you've got a vehicle that costs the same but has 5 times the utility. So it's so gigantic a change that that's really, I think, the main driver of our value. Although I've said this before, I think we will solve autonomy soon.
Did you expect that Tesla will be at this level of market cap?
No, I did not expect Tesla would be at this level of market cap.
Because it's just extraordinary. Unfair,
by
the way.
I mean, I don't set the price, so...
Yeah, you don't set.
Maybe just another quick question. I tried Midjourney the other day.
Yeah, Midjourney's amazing.
Right, and I asked the software to make a Louis Vuitton advertising campaign with only 2 words. So here it's a bad question for you, Maurice. Yeah. Right?
If you want to put me out of a job...
That was my question. Do you feel this advertising production industry is going to be threatened by AI?
Be careful. Be careful.
Not at all. It's totally safe. I mean, AI is definitely going to be a massive disruptive force. I mean, AI is probably the most disruptive technology ever. I mean, the crazy thing is that, you know, the advantage that humans have is that we're smarter than other creatures. Like, if we got into a fight with the gorilla would definitely win. But we're smart, so... But now, for the first time, there's going to be something that is smarter than the smartest human, like way smarter than the smartest human. And as you can see from Midjourney, the art that AI can create is incredible. It's so beautiful, and it does it, you know, within seconds. So we're at. I mean, I think, you know, there's that sort of saying, "May you live in interesting times," which I think is like. Not exactly a good thing sometimes, but we actually live, I think we live in the most interesting of times. The advent of AI, and I actually thought to myself at one point, like, you know, would I really want to be alive at this point? Like, let's say that there is some AI Armageddon that happens, some sort of AI apocalypse. I think I would still want to be alive at this time to see it. And hopefully, you know, hopefully not cause it. But it's just I think we live in an extremely interesting time, you know, because the things that you see AI being able to do now, it's going to do much more with each passing year. Cars will absolutely drive themselves better than any person could drive. We'll have humanoid robots. Like, so Tesla's developing a humanoid robot. We call it the T800. It's yeah, some people get that joke. It's the Terminator. So
we can tweet that.
Yeah. But if you like to say, what is an economy? An economy is GDP per capita times capita. Now, what happens if you don't actually have a limit on capita? If you have an unlimited number of sort of people or robots, it's not clear what meaning an economy has at that point, because you have an unlimited economy effectively. So like on the good side, the plus side of AI is that I think we are heading for an age of abundance. where any goods and services that you want, you can just have. So that's the positive side of AI future is an age of abundance.
From the advertising side, I must say that we are using AI since many years, and it is helping us a great deal. And this is a tool that we are already using, and I think it will be helping us to do even faster some very good ad. It will be probably long time before they replace the creative minds. Asmita, maybe you have an opinion on that, and maybe you can. Asmita is the CDO of L'Oréal, and she knows a lot about digital, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about advertising and AI, and put your question to Elon.
Yeah, so I'll pick up from advertising and from what you said before about Twitter. So now we know that Twitter is expensive, and we know that it aims to have free speech. The question I have is about winning the advertisers' trust to be a preferred social media platform in the current context where the expected revenue, in 2023 is lower than 2022. You have brought in new leadership, Linda. So I wanted to know that how time, the support, the freedom, because she's an advertising expert. So will she be able to manage the situation, and how?
Yeah, I think Linda's great. So I think Linda's going to do amazing things for Twitter, and obviously understands where advertisers are coming from very deeply, understands the concerns that advertisers have, and I think will do a great job in addressing those concerns. A key part is, say like if you're an advertiser, what content do you want to appear next to? And depending upon what advertiser, the sensitivity of the brand, if you're, for example, say Disney, and you're advertising a children's movie, then you want to have, all ages content, And by the way, Disney is one of our biggest advertisers. So, So it's really just making sure that the content adjacency matches what a brand is comfortable with. And then there's some cases where the content is like, there's not going to be any advertising because nobody wants to advertise next to it. And that's going to be some of the more controversial stuff. Yeah.
I have a follow-up on that, because we were talking about content. You have just made the announcement that there will be ad revenue sharing for creators.
Yes.
Yeah, and that has a condition. It will be done when they are verified blue-tick creators, and the advertising is to verified blue-tick users.
Yes.
Now, if with that, how does that impact your focus on subscription revenues? Because to be blue-tick, there's a subscription versus advertising revenues focus.
Yeah. So a big part of when you say say how many impressions does something get? You say well, were those impressions real or not real? Was it a computer just running 100,000 fake accounts? Because that obviously doesn't count because the computer's not going to buy anything. So that's why our focus is on verified users, because we are admittedly conflating verification and subscription at Twitter. So you could say verified subscriber or something like that. It's not possible to game that. So it's real, it's solid, and it's not a computer. So that's why that's why we're focused on that. Is to ensure the authenticity of the views, and that it really real people are seeing what's going on. I mean, the sheer amount of bot and scam and spam activity in social media is insane. And we're talking about AI. It's very obvious that, especially with today's AI, the computers can pass every, are you a human test. In fact, I think they can pass are you a human test better than a human. Sort of you say identify a traffic light or something like that. Okay, let me tell you, Tesla can identify a traffic light. So if we're, but even open source AI stuff right now can pass all of the human tests. So you have to have something that there's better authentication than that. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
I think that confidence and trust is something which we lose fast and that we regain slowly. I have no doubt, personally, that Twitter will gain back the trust, provided that you do the right thing, and I'm sure that you will do the right thing. So this is something which is probably just a hiccup in the time, but you need to do the right thing, and I'm sure that you will do it. I have two small questions. One which is regarding Ukraine. You have helped enormously Ukraine at the beginning with Starlinks. And I think we owe you a lot because without access to internet and without access to communication, the war would have been finished. What is your take on that experience?
Yeah, that was I mean, that whole situation is very complex.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's really, really complex. As you point out, Starlink did play a pivotal role because Russia had actually taken out all of the satellite communications and all of the ground communications except for Starlink. It was the only one that was still operating. And even today, it is still the only one that is effective at the front lines. And Starlink today is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communications. So, you know, I thought it was important to help out. But I do hope for some kind of resolution soon, because I think it's terribly sad that the flower of the youth of Ukraine and Russia, who don't want to be there, that they're dying in trenches right now. And I sure hope we can figure out some means to peace soon.
The last question is going back to this crowd. You have a lot of start-uppers. You have a lot of young people who want to be successful.
Sure.
What are the 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you would give them?
Well, you have a question over there?
Yes. Do we have a microphone? Because Elon has accepted to take questions from the floor.
Sure.
Charlotte? Allez, un microphone. Donnez. Allez, prenez-le de l'autre côté. De l'autre côté. Allez. Allez, go. You have the mic, you go. Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
I don't know why you got the mic, but please go.
All right. So I had a question about all of your different companies and projects in the past 10 years. There's a pattern that I've seen to have identified.
Short question.
Every single one of your companies would work a lot better on Mars than on Earth. Like hydrogen.
Sure.
It's really hard to make a big vacuum on Earth, but on Mars it's a lot easier.
Sure.
Same for Tesla, electric cars obviously are the only one who can
Yeah,
work
yeah.
there. And I mean, SpaceX is obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give the mic back.
Yeah, me and Mars should get a room, basically. I love Mars.
Okay. Huh? No. Now I want that you give the mic.
Sorry, guys.
I was there.
Okay, sure. What's your question?
What is the question?
My name is Nayul, co-founder and CEO at ClickUp. We make AI tiny. So Tesla is one of our target. We'd love to work with you, Elon. And my husband is actually ex-Mobileye, who hard carry like the infrastructure and MLOps.
Okay.
So,
Okay, sure.
this is
Oh! Okay. One last question. Last.
Sure.
Oh, more.
Guys, whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm fine
go.
with it. However long you want to do it.
No, no.
Totally crazy.
Allez-y.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for being here. Dr. Elisabeth, I'm the head of researcher, Space Neuropsychology Lab. We are working on the mental health to help humans to go to Mars, actually.
Sure. That's great.
Okay, so the question is, how do you think it's relevant, the mental health, for human beings?
Well, I think you'd want to have a very good mental health on a trip to Mars. And make sure everyone's sane, because you don't want someone opening the airlock in the middle of the night. So I think sanity is very important if you're going to Mars.
Donnez au premier rang. Premier rang. Non, attendez, s'il vous plaît. Donnez pas le micro comme ça. Ne donnez pas le micro que... Attendez que je vous le donne. Voilà. Please.
We're just going to descend into chaos.
Just a second. Okay, you will get. Okay, allez-y.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm Nathaniel Ackerman from.
Okay. I think we're going to it's going to be chaos.
Can you hear me?
Mais attendez, si vous voulez que ça se passe, il faut se calmer. Allez-y.
Hey, great T-shirt.
Allez-y.
Okay. So
Allez-y.
you talked about the European regulation, Elon, and you know that there have been many amendments due to LLM deployment. Do you think how can we integrate the use and actual use of this LLM in a non-controlled way in the current discussion?
Can you make it short?
Legislation?
Thank you. Récupérez le micro.
You're asking about
Là-bas.
safe LLM use?
Okay, just a second. No, please. He will answer the question.
Was it about safety in LLMs, or? Sorry, I didn't hear the whole question. It's like safe application of LLMs, or what is it?
The regulation at the European level was conceived when we did not talk about LLMs. So what would you integrate in the current negotiation at the European level to integrate the LLM and protect from the use, no use possible?
Okay. It's
Sure.
okay. When the regulation has been created, LLM didn't exist. So, what would be your suggestion regarding regulating LLMs?
Well, I think more broadly, there should be regulatory insight into LLMs and really any other form of AI. I mean, I'm not sure, I don't think LLMs are the ultimate form of AI. I mean, there's sort of an inside joke on AI of like, who do you think will be the American president in 2032? Diffusion or Transformers? That's an inside joke, but yeah. It's like, what does that mean? But that like might be real. So, yeah.
So we will have the two latest questions, one here and one in that region. So go ahead. Silence. Vous voulez ou pas?
I mean,
no, if we don't listen to the question, we will not be able to continue.
Well,
okay, thank you. I'm journalist from Forbes, and we have every year we have a palmarès, which is 13 under 30. My question is, what business young people should focus on?
sure. Well, I think generally, I think it's important to focus on something.
Attendez. So go ahead.
Sorry. I think you want to focus on something that you are personally passionate about, that you personally care about. It's very hard to be motivated for a product that you don't really feel strongly about. And it doesn't have to be high tech. It could be in any field. It's got to be a product that you feel is really needs to be there, and something that you personally love. And I would listen to your instincts on do you love this product or service? Because it's kind of impossible to know what do other people love. But if you love it, that's a good sign. And that could be small to large, any field. It doesn't have to be high tech. But if you don't really love the product that you're making, if you can't, like a good test would be that you can't wait for this product to be on the market. And if that's the case, you're going in the right direction.
Great. No. The last question, we have...
Wow.
We have a French... non, je ne vais pas pouvoir en parler. We have a French saying, which is, la vérité sort de la bouche des enfants. Il y en a un ici. Non, le gamin, oui. No, you. No, the kid. Ah non, c'est pas vous, c'est le gamin. Non. En français.
Okay.
Qui pose ses questions en français. Tu poses ta question en français, on traduira. Non, tu poses la question, toi. N'aie pas peur.
He is asking for Neuralink and about the human testing, and he is very excited. When do you think that we will be able to start testing in our virtual world, Victoria VR?
Sure. Well, so Neuralink is, first of all, I want to assure everyone, if you may be worried about Neuralink, that you will see Neuralink is going to be a fairly slow process because anything that's done in humans, it's very slow. So sometimes people think that this suddenly we're going to be chipping everyone's head, and then before they know it, everyone's connected to the internet, and then we're in trouble with your brain. So it's going to happen very slowly. Hopefully later this year we'll do our first human device implantation, and this will be for someone that has sort of tetraplegic, quadriplegic, has lost the connection from their brain to their body, and we think we should be able to. That person will be able to communicate as fast as someone who has a fully functional body. So that's going to be a big deal, and we see a path beyond that to actually transfer the signals from the motor cortex of the brain to past the injury in the spinal cord and actually enable someone's body to be used again. So essentially shunting the signals past the broken point and restore potentially full body use to someone that has completely lost the connection. And I mean, you can imagine, like, if, say, Stephen Hawking were alive today, what a profound change that would be. So that's our first application. And if it's looking like that, the first case will be later this year. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
Now, I would like a very, very warm round of applause to Elon Musk.
Sure. Sure, sounds good. All right, okay. All right.
No.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say you guys are great. You guys are, I mean, it's so inspiring to see so much energy and so much positive energy in the room. So this is very inspiring for the future.
Merci à vous tous. Thank you. Great, thank you. No. Okay. Thank you. We move behind.
Guys, if I go down there, it's going to be crazy.